Bleacher Report compiled a list of the best players in the NBA, and I'm here to break it all down. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel, and Jalen Brunson has finally gained the respect of the media by being put in the top 10. Now he's number 10, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I've been wanting the media to give Jalen Brunson as much respect as I think he deserves, and I think little by little he's starting to do it. Let's take a look at the list. So coming in at number 10, we got Jalen Brunson. Number 9, Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, SGA, Giannis at number 3, Luka at number 2, Nikola Jokic at number 1. Now, there's like 3 players that I'm really looking at and comparing to Jalen Brunson. But before I get into the numbers of those players, just my overall feelings of the list itself, the first thought that comes into my mind is Joel Embiid. Now, if we're talking about talent, if we're making a list about talented players in the NBA, Joel Embiid is definitely top 3. If not, he's maybe number 1. The most talented player in the league, being able to hit the 3, put the ball on the deck, Hakeem the Dream, post-like moves, like ball handling. Like, I think Joel Embiid is the most talented player in the league. But when we're talking about best players in the league, that's a different list and that's a different conversation. And in my opinion, when you're talking about the best players in the league, you have to throw in durability. Durability is something that we have to factor in with all NBA players. And if we're going to talk honestly, and if we're going to talk matter of fact, Joel Embiid just has not been durable for the duration of his career. Every single season, it seems like around the playoff times or earlier in the season, he goes down with an injury, and then the time where the team is starting to rev up to go into the playoffs, he's not 100% healthy. This year, it was his knee. The last year, he messed up his knee in the first round against Brooklyn, and then he played through a messed up knee for the rest of the playoffs. I think the season before that, with the beat Toronto in the first round, he fractured his hand, and I think he messed up. He had broken bone in his face. Joel Embiid, time and time again, is just not. He has shown us that he's not been able to have a durable, complete NBA season. And as far as the list, I honestly think that Joel Embiid might have to be taken off. Durability is something that we have to factor in with all of these players. I don't know who said it. I can't give the credit to the person right now, but one of the best quotes I've heard of all time. The best ability is durability. Now, going into the list, I think the top 2 players are a lock for sure. Nikola Jokic being at number 1, I think is 100% right. Luka Doncic coming in at number 2, I think is 100% right. Luka right now going to the NBA Finals for the first time, and then also going to the Western Conference Finals for the first time a couple of seasons ago. I think he was around the age of 23 or 22. And that's definitely something that can't be scoffed at. Luka Doncic is definitely one of the most talented players in the league, most skilled players in the league. But in my opinion, this is just my personal opinion, since he came into the league, I don't like how the media has been covering him. They've been comparing him to Larry Bird, and that's basically since he's gotten into the league. And I've always had the opinion of, like, let him prove some stuff first. Let him show us that he's able to lead a team into the playoffs, have deep playoff runs. Now, since then, he has shown us that Western Conference Finals run, even though he got smoked by the Golden State Warriors in 5, and then now he's in the middle of the NBA Finals run where he's down 1-0 against the Boston Celtics. But Nikola Jokic, NBA title last season, I thought they were going to repeat. Unfortunately, he lost in 7 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But Nikola Jokic, just because Luka is having a great season, I don't think Luka should deserve the crown as the best player in the league. Jokic has been showing us for the past, 4 seasons, having 3 MVPs in the last 4 seasons. I think Nikola Jokic at number 1 is perfect. Doncic at number 2 is perfect. But number 3, Giannis. Giannis at number 3, this is actually where I'm changing my opinion on Giannis. Time and time again, I've always said to my friends and I've always said to myself that Giannis deserves to be in the top 3. But if we're comparing Giannis to Jokic and Doncic, what's the one thing that Giannis does not have that those 2 players have? He does not have a defined skill set. Giannis' skill set is what? Just muscling his way to the rim and dunking on everybody? Can we say that Giannis has a dependable jump shot? Can we say Giannis has a dependable go-to move in the post or if it's in the perimeter? No. What Giannis does is he muscles his way to the rim and he dunks on everybody. And me personally, I like my players to have some sort of skill that they can display. I like my players being able to go to a certain move where when it's 2 minutes down the stretch, and if you give the ball to your best player on the team, I want to know that Giannis is going to be able to get you guys a bucket. And Giannis, like I say, time and time again, he just muscles his way and he bullies his way to the rim. And we've seen in the past defenses prepare for that. They just build a wall, and Giannis has a hard time getting through that wall. Now, he's been able to break through and won the championship in 2021 against the Phoenix Suns. And I believe it was in 6 games where he had that 50-point burger ball, and he cemented himself as one of the best players of all time. He won the Finals MVP. So Giannis, I'm not saying Giannis doesn't deserve to be on this list, but as far as where on the list, I don't think he deserves to be top 3. And the number 4 player, SGA, I actually think needs to be number 3, and Giannis goes down to number 4. Now, at number 5, Jason Tatum. This is one of the 2 players that I specifically wanted to compare to Jalen Brunson and this season. And the other player is coming in at number 8, Steph Curry. Now, there's been this debate as who's the best point guard in the league, and a lot of people just automatically throw Stephen Curry's name into that list because of what he's done. 4 NBA championships, a 1-time Finals MVP. 2 of those championships, Kevin Durant was a huge part of the reason, and 2 of those championships, Kevin Durant was a Finals MVP. And the very first championship, Steph Curry didn't win the Finals MVP. It was actually to Andre Iguodala. So there are conversations that can be had as far as like where does Steph Curry lie within the best point guards in the league. But Jalen Brunson has been coming on strong, man. I know this, the beginning of this video, I was talking a lot about other players besides Jalen Brunson, but now getting into the crux of it, Jalen Brunson this season, man, the second season with the Knicks, he's 100% established himself as the best player in the Knicks organization, as the leader of the Knicks organization. And if we take a look at the numbers, averaging 28.7 points for the season, 3.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists. And as far as the field goal attempts, this is where I'm really looking at the numbers and comparing it to Steph and also the other player, Jason Tatum. But Jalen Brunson, by the numbers, field goal percentages, he made 10 field goals on 21 attempts, and that equates to 47.9%. And now 3-point field goal percentage, he made 2.7 on 6.8 attempts, which is a 40% from 3-point. So field goal percentage is 47.9, which is 48. 48% from regular field goal percentage. 3-point, we're looking at 40%. Now, if we're going to take a look at Steph Curry's numbers, we're looking at points, 26.4, 4.5 rebounds, 5.1 assists, and now the field goal percentages. From the field, he made 8.8 on 19.5%, and that equates to 45% from the field. 3-point, obviously 3-point is Steph Curry's moniker. This is what he built his career around. He ended up averaging 40% from 3-point land, and that is 4.8 makes on 11.8 attempts. So if we're comparing Steph Curry's field goal percentage, 45%, and the 3-point field goal percentage of 40% compared to Jalen Brunson, field goal percentage, Jalen Brunson 47.9, which is 48%. So Jalen Brunson got the nod in there. The 3-point percentage, Jalen Brunson at 40, Steph Curry at 40.8, so that's a tie right there. And I also want to take a look at the amount of games that they played. So this past season, Jalen Brunson played 77, Steph Curry played 74. So listen, man, the numbers with Steph Curry and Jalen Brunson, they're kind of identical. But if we're looking at the 3-point percentage, if we're looking at the regular field goal percentage, the numbers are very, very close. And we also got to take into account where Steph Curry is in his career. Steph Curry, I don't want to say he's on the backside of his career, but he just finished completing his 15th season. His 15th season in the league. And Jalen Brunson just finished his 6th season in the NBA. So as far as age and as far as productivity, it's only logical to think that Jalen Brunson from here on out is going to have a more productive NBA career from Steph Curry. Steph Curry, again, like I said, he's not on the backside of his career. He still has the potential and he still has all the talent in the world to lead a team. But I think right now in Steph Curry's career, I think he's going to need a little bit more help. And there's that question of Klay Thompson. Is he returning? Draymond Green, I believe, signed his extension or he signed a new deal, I think, last season. So he's going to be there for a while. But there's just a lot of questions around Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors organization to see if they're going to build a team around Steph Curry that's going to be able to compete. But if you're asking me, personally, who would I rather have right now? Right now, I'm not taking their past into account. I'm not talking about their accolades. I'm talking about who would you take right now to start your point guard for an organization. I would honestly take Jalen Brunson. Now, the other player that I also want to talk about in comparing to Jalen Brunson, This player was number 4 on Bleacher Report's top 10 list, and we're talking about SGA. So for the season, SGA played 75 games, averaging 30.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6.2 assists, and if we're taking a look at the numbers, averaging 53.5 field goal percentage from the field. That is on 19.8 attempts, and he converted 10.6 of his field goal attempts, which equates to, like I said, 53.5%. 3-point numbers. He averaged 35.3% from the 3-point line. That is on 3.5 attempts, and he converted 1.3 on those 3-point attempts. SGA is a phenomenal player, in my opinion. I actually think that SGA deserved to get the MVP this past season. Jokic, he had a great season. Joel Embiid, if he stayed healthy, unquestionably, undoubtedly. Like, if he was healthy, the MVP race was a wrap back in like January, but he ended up getting hurt. So then it was between Jokic, Doncic, and SGA. Nobody picked OKC to be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Now, you can have the argument that the only reason why OKC was the number 1 seed was because of a tiebreaker and the way the wins and loss ended up. But still, OKC was, at the end of the season, they were going to end 1, 2, or 3 in the Western Conference. Me personally, I had OKC finishing maybe around like 7 or 6. I did not have them in the top 3. And if you're going to be in the top 3 seedings of the Western Conference, and if you're the best player on the team, then you deserve to get some sort of recognition. Jokic, of course, I know he's the best player in the league, but I think SGA deserved it. Now, these players that I'm comparing Jalen Brunson to, we're talking about the upper echelon players in the league. SGA is going to be in the MVP conversations for years to come, for seasons on end, and he's probably going to win it within the next 2 or 3 seasons. Steph Curry, I mean, I don't really have to talk about it. We know about Steph Curry's legacy. We know about his accolades. We know what he's about. But the last player that I want to talk about is somebody that's actually still currently playing, and I'm talking about Jason Tatum. So Jason Tatum for the season ended up playing 74 games, averaging 26.9 points, 8.1 rebounds, 4.9 assists, averaging 9.1 field goals made, and that is on 19.3 field goals attempted, which equates to 47.1%. He averaged 3.1 three-pointers made, and that is on 8.2 three-point attempts, which equates to 37.6%. So again, comparing Jalen Brunson to Jason Tatum and the numbers. Field goal percentage, Jason Tatum ended up at 47.1. Jalen Brunson ended up at 47.9. Very, very close. Jalen Brunson gets the slight nod. The three-point percentage, Jalen Brunson at 40.1, Jason Tatum at 37.6. So Jalen Brunson gets the nod there. The only reason why I'm bringing up Jason Tatum is because, first and foremost, the East is a little bit of a joke, man. The last few years, it's been Boston leading the pack, and then you could throw Miami in there, and you could throw Milwaukee. Those 3 teams are undoubtedly the leaders of the Eastern Conference, but then after that, we have just a huge gap between those 3 teams and the rest of the league. And the New York Knicks are coming on strong, but Jason Tatum, being the best player on the Boston Celtics, he is time and time again going to be in the conversation of MVP. Now, where in the conversation does Jason Tatum lie? He never really ends up in the top 3. And I'm not really too sure about that. Jason Tatum, with this finals appearance, if he's able to beat the Dallas Mavericks, and if he's able to win the finals MVP, I really think that the conversation around Jason Tatum is going to change. Because right now, I feel like Jason Tatum just isn't getting the respect that he deserves. Yeah, he's not on the level of a Luka, of a Jokic. Maybe a Giannis, that might be a conversation, but I also believe that SGA is a better player than Jason Tatum. But I don't believe that Jason Tatum is like top 10, and I don't believe Jason Tatum is like 7 through 10. I think Jason Tatum respectfully and deservingly belongs in the top 5. Now, where in the top 5? I think Jason Tatum belongs in the 4 and 5 range. The top 3, that's a really hard one to crack. But Jason Tatum, with this finals appearance, and if he's able to win, I really think he can change the conversation around his name, start gaining the respect of the media and of avid NBA and basketball fans as well. But Jalen Brunson, comparing these numbers to the elite players in the league, the SGAs, the Steph Currys, the Jason Tatums, like, I'm very, very happy to see that Jalen Brunson is starting to gain the respect of the media members and including his name in the top 10 list of the NBA players. I don't care if it's talent, I don't care if it's skills, I don't care if it's durability. Jalen Brunson deserves to be in every top 10 list that comes out from here on out. Now, of course, Jalen Brunson is home. He is watching the NBA Finals like the rest of us. And this offseason is a very big and important offseason. We still got to see what's going to happen with OG. We still got to see what's happening with Isaiah Hartenstein. And as soon as the finals end, that's when the negotiations can start to begin between Hartenstein, OG. But the extension talks can also begin as well. Jalen Brunson can start having those conversations. Julius Randle can start having those conversations. So next season is really going to depend on what happens this summer. Are we going to bring back a team that's similar that we saw this season? Or are we going to have some gaps in the roster? Is OG going to leave for more money? Is Hartenstein going to leave for more money? And if OG leaves, who are we going to have to replace him? Possibly Mikal Bridges. If Mikal Bridges comes, then that chemistry and the camaraderie with the rest of the Nova boys, how is that going to look? So many questions that need to be answered for next season. Depending on the roster and how it looks is really going to tell us what type of season Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and the rest of the Knicks are going to have. But that's it for today's video, guys. I want to say thank you for checking it out. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the Bleacher Report's top 10 list. Do you like where Jalen Brunson landed? Do you think he should have been higher? Do you think it was just right? Let me know. But until next time, you know the drill, you know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president, Jalen Brunson for all the MVPs, regular season MVP, playoffs MVP, finals MVP, summer league MVP, every MVP. The deuce is loose. Shout out to you, Deuce. And until next time, I'll check you on the next video. Peace.